you read any books that helped you? Would you recommend any? I guess I can start off with this one. I have a whole bunch of books that I started. There was a few that I finished. There's a few that I did not finish, but I actually have a few of my favorite books that I have right here. I have much more, but these are just a few just to save time. But these are a few books that I've read and which I would highly recommend for you guys to read if you're into reading. The first one here is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Really good one.
Yeah, so that's one of the books that I started, but I haven't been able to finish the things yet. The next one I have is The Power of Your Attitude by Stan Toller, or however you pronounce it. And another one I have that I really loved is The Attention Deficit Workplace. This one I was
Mm,
finished this book. This was a very beneficial one. Teaches you how to, pay attention in the workplace and a whole bunch of stuff like that. Here's another one that I have that was also one of my favorites, The Power of Positive Thinking. I love this book. And then one of the last ones is called The Secret, What Great Leaders Know and Do. So those are the five books that out of the many books that I have, the five books that I've read and that I highly recommend for you guys to get if you're into reading. Uh, if you guys have any more questions about any books that just want to recommend or books you want to start reading, that you can feel free to ask, feel free to DM me, hit me up, and I'll be more than happy to give you guys some suggestions on some books. If any of you guys want to hop in on that question, you can feel free to.
So some of the books that I would recommend, I don't have the physical copies on me, but two of them I have. It's called The Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal and The Confidence Gap by Rush Harris. So it's basically, how your self-control can shape your happiness and your health life. And I would also recommend the Positive Thinking book that Josh had shouted out, because I also read that as well, and it was a really good book.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm not a big reader. I have two books. I didn't finish either of them, but both of them taught me a very valuable lesson, and I have stories behind them. So the first one is The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. I probably have gotten halfway through this thing. The reason I stopped reading it was because halfway through the book, I realized what the message was. Logic is always more important, and having a good sense of logic than any type of math skills or anything like that. Being logically smart is extremely important in this world, even when it comes to something as involved with math, like the stock market. Because I'm not good with math. I'm not a math person. That helped me accept that, in situations like the stock market, or even in math classes in college, like I could still do well. Because if you approach things logically, most of the time, if not all the time, it's going to be more powerful than approaching it with some type of formula. My second book is, I don't even know which one this is. It's the Business of the 21st Century. So I got this book when I was someone was trying to recruit me for a pyramid scheme with this one. I got a little Post-it note in it saying, "Great meeting you. Here's to hope this adds some value." The next time I met these people, I realized that they were trying to recruit me into a pyramid scheme. And I'm not saying this just to be funny. I'm saying this because that was the moment. Yeah. So I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm saying this to help, because it helped me realize that you have to do things on your own. Like, people aren't going to come to you with these amazing opportunities that they came with, saying, you're going to start your own business and then we're going to give you money for it and all this stuff. You have to do it on your own. Like, no matter what it is, rely on yourself more than you rely on anyone else at all times in business. So even though I didn't finish either of these books, I did learn some life lessons from both of them.
I only have one book. After I graduated, I didn't want to see no more books. And it's crazy the way this came about. The author is Grant Cardone, which I'm sure a lot of you know. Really rich guy, millionaire, real estate entrepreneur. He has his own show where he talks Um, one day I was at this dealership I used to work at, and this guy came to me with a really positive attitude. And he was just getting an oil change. He was like, "Yo, do you read?" Like sometimes. He gave me this book, and then he went on a trip to Mexico. And he came back in a month, and I wasn't even halfway through, and I gave it back, and I felt bad. I'm like, "Yo, this stranger came to me with this book, and I never finished it." And then I finally got to see it again on Amazon, and I bought it. I bought it for $15. And I'm so glad that I did that because it really just changed my whole life and the way you see things. The name of the book is Sell or Be Sold. Going again back to where I was saying at first. I don't know exactly what I want to do, but it's related to business, it's related to sales, marketing, something like that. Basically, what this book is about is that in everything in life, you have to sell yourself. You have to believe in yourself more than anything else. For example, in the book, the author talks about how he met his wife and she turned him down at least 50 times before they ended up being married. And now they're like 30, 40 years together. You have to believe in yourself. You have to sell yourself, whether it is your product, your smile, your attitude. You have to sell yourself. If you want to get laid, if you want to invite a girl for prom, you have to sell yourself. She has to like what you have to offer, right? And you could do that in a plenty of ways, not just showing financial superiority or whatever, but just the person you are, right? So it's more than just selling a product, it's also selling the idea of who you are as a person, right? So it's basically everything in life is connected to sales. I learned that very quick.
Wonderful answers. Wonderful answers.
You know,
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next question here. What do you wish you knew when you were starting out? Uh, One thing I wish I knew when I was starting out through my entrepreneurship journey and just, I guess, career wise or whatever you want to call it. One thing I wish I knew was the importance of consistency and the results that you can get out of remaining consistent and just having faith and just believing in yourself. I would always, anything I would put my mind to do, whether it be business wise or whatever it was, I would always have no problem with starting off in the beginning. You know, it's all happy, it's all fun in the beginning, it's all easy. But then I would just lack consistency. I would just become lazy. I would just lack discipline to continue. And I realized, and I would just become so down at a certain point because I wouldn't be seeing the results or, you know, reaping the benefits from the effort that I put in. And I realized that if I'm going to put in, if there's going to be a lack of effort and a lack of consistency, then there's no point. Things are just going to continue to move slow and you're just not going to get any results out of whatever that you do. So that's what I really wish I knew when I started out with, you know, businesses or anything that I had put my mind to. I really wish that I had knew the importance of having to remain consistent and just keep on that track and just have patience and the results will come. So that's something that I wish I knew when I started out with anything.
I would say that things are gonna go bad before they go good, and there's learning from that, and you just take that into consideration and push forward.
I would say like activity doesn't always equal growth. You can be working 24/7 the first few months and you would get no customers, no profit, but that doesn't mean the next few months you won't get it. So as what Josh was saying, just to remain consistent, and again with me being patient, like what I was talking about being patient, like with the other businesses, you know, I've am starting with others. I feel like we jumped into a lot of things too quickly and that kind of screwed us up. So it was just to remain patient and know that things aren't going to come right away. At first, it may be slow, but you never know what the outcomes are going to be at the end.
Uh, I guess kind of what I was saying before. Again, I haven't technically started a business. You know, I'm not the CEO of this company, but I guess in terms of just school and everything, you know, jobs, you get what you like, you get back what you put out in terms of, you know, your energy and the way that you think of things. Keep a smile, like, just keep a smile on your face. You'll get better things will come your way than if you're walking around either feeling sorry for yourself or frowning or whatever it is, because this is hard work. School is hard work, business is hard work. But you definitely get what you put out.
Wonderful answers. Wonderful answers. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next question. What big of a risk is too big of a risk? Personally, I don't think there's no such thing as too big of a risk. And if you guys want to know a little something about risk, I want you to check out part 3 of the How to Start a Business series, where I talk about risk taking. So make sure you guys check that out. But anyways, like I said, in life, you really have to take risks because you really wouldn't know the end result of it. You have to take that leap of faith in whatever that you're doing. You have to realize that life is short. Tomorrow is not promised for anybody, as everybody knows. So if there's a risk or something that you're really afraid of doing, just why not just do it? Like I said, if it's whether in business or sport or music or whatever the case may be, or whatever career, just take that risk, take that leap of faith. You never know how far you can go. And the good thing about it is that even if you do end up failing or do end up messing up or realizing that it's not for you, at the end of the day, it's a learning experience. So I feel like that's the most important thing for taking a risk. No matter whether you win, no matter whether you lose, at the end of the day, you end up learning something. And that's the most beneficial part of taking a risk. If anybody else wants to tap in on that one.
I would say this is like a double-edged question because I don't want to call it risk. I want to call it cost. And in that instance, it would be when it's too much, and too much is when it costs you your mental peace, when it costs you your happiness, right? But that's not something you would really risk in a sense. I guess you could be risking your happiness by making the wrong move if you want to think about it like that, but then you wouldn't ever take a risk, which is not what I'm trying to imply. You should take a lot of risk because you learn from it. So it's kind of like an opinion more than answering the question.
I was gonna say exactly what Juan just said, to be honest. Yeah, risks are good. Take risks as long as you're not gonna at the end hurt yourself or hurt someone else. If that's not gonna happen, then yeah, just go ahead and take the risk. Just don't hurt yourself in any way or the people around you.
Okay. Adam, you want to hop on that question, or you just want to wait till the next one? All right. So we're going to move on to the next question just to save some time here. What's a good thing to be afraid of? If anybody wants to volunteer to start off with this question.
Failure. That's the best thing to be afraid of. Even if that was the only thing you're afraid of, that's good. Like being afraid of failure makes you work harder. It makes you figure out different ways to do things, even if it's small. Even if if you work in sales, even if you're afraid of blowing the sale, it makes you work harder towards it. If you have a quota that you have to hit and you don't want to miss that quota and you're afraid of failing, you're going to work harder and you're going to find a way to reach whatever goal that is. So I think really, if you're going to be afraid of anything, failure is the thing to be afraid of because it leads to success.
That's another double-edged question because I could disagree with everything Adam just said because, for example, you guys seen that video about Diddy where he's like, yo, get me another deal. I could feel like I could do anything. Get me more deals. I want to close them because he's reaching for that failure. And I don't remember where I heard this one time, but it was like basically when we go to the gym, we seek for failure because we lift till we can no longer lift. That's when we fail. And then the next day you could do one more rep than the day before. So it could be looked at the way Adam said, and it also could be looked at you should actually seek failure to learn from that. That was basically my answer.
I actually think fear could be a good thing in a way. Like if you think about it like as in like fight or flight, when your heart's racing, your mind's like, okay, what do I do now? That's allowing you to take action. fear helps you compel to take action. It pushes you to do better. It pushes you to, go out your way and do what you got to do. So I feel like fear in a way kind of protects you, and it's not a bad thing to be having, no matter what you're really afraid of.
That's a good answer. And
I have another one real quick. I would say, because I never really answer it, I would say pressure. Pressure is often pretty good for you. I remember my boss one time told me, you know why you're not selling enough? Because you don't have enough bills. I was like, that's ridiculous. He was like, yeah, you don't have enough bills. You don't have enough things to worry about. You know what I got to pay for? I got to pay for 2 cars, child support for 3 kids. I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have 3 dogs. That pressure pushes me to do better at my job every day. And then after that, like 2 months later after that, I bought my first car. And now I had a car payment and an insurance payment. And after that, I started selling a lot more because I had that pressure. Sometimes you got to put that fire under your ass so you get going. So that would be it for me.
very good answers. And I'm just gonna finish off with my personal opinion on that one. I feel like a good thing to be afraid of in life is bad habits. Uh, that's something that you definitely need to have fear for, because bad habits can really lead you down a wrong path and just really mess things up for you in life. And I really feel like if you don't get rid of the bad habits, it's just gonna have everything all messed up in life for you. Just to save time, we're just going to move on to the next question here. If I'm starting a business, should I keep my 9 to 5 or quit to give full time to my personal business? So I'm going to start off with this question, answering this question here. If you're starting a business and you currently have a 9 to 5, I highly recommend that you don't quit your job right away. The reason why I say that is because you do need money to fund your business. So whether you have a part-time job or a full-time job and you're starting a business on the side, it's going to be all about hustle. So you're really going to have to work that job to save the money to put into your business. If you're in a situation where you have money that can last you for a few years, then okay, you go ahead, quit your 9 to 5, put all your time into your business. But if you're not in that situation, then I highly recommend that you stay with your job, whether it be part-time or full-time, because you're going to need the money to fund your business. The money is not going to come right away when you start your business. You always going to need a little extra cash, whether it be savings for a rainy day, money to put to the side, and don't quit your 9 to 5. You can do both. Just try to create some sort of balance between the two.
I agree. I agree 100%. Keep your job because it's important and it's what you do to keep you aside from your job. And that's also when you know that's your passion, when you want to stop working your 9 to 5 to go full time into this business that you have so much interest about. But I would say be smart about it. The goal should always be to try to quit your 9 to 5, but you have to get there. It's not just, okay, boss, I'm not going tomorrow. You could just take me off the list. You have to work hard enough so you get to a point where you can say, okay, I'm ready to quit my job and dedicate to this 100%.
Anybody else want to hop in on that question, or we can move on to the last?
You can move on. I agree. I wouldn't quit the 9 to 5.
Adam, you agree as well? Yes, sir. All right, last question. Moving on to the last question of this Q&A. Last one is, how do you spend your time? I want to start off with this one. How do I spend my time? Most of the time, I'm chilling, relaxing, or whatever. But other than that, I really try to spend a lot of time educating myself, especially in business and when it comes to entrepreneurship. I'm really trying to get to that point in my life where, like, I know so much about business that I can just teach anybody about it like it's nothing. Like I'm still learning every single day. Like I'm still learning, still doing research, watching inspiration.
Dropping gems.
Right. So I'm definitely like trying every single day to just self-educate myself, read as much as I can, watch as many videos, and just continue on with that process. So that's basically how I spend my time. If I'm not hanging out with friends, spending time with family, or just relaxing. If you guys want to hop in on that question as well. How do you spend your time?
I mean, I don't really have anything interesting to say apart from like what you said, apart from spending time with family or friends, to stay at home, like do business work, or then be at my part-time job. It's really much it for now.
I don't really read a lot, but I like to suck up a lot of information and knowledge. So I watch a lot of YouTube, but not like dumb stuff, but more like podcasts. For example, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Patrick Bet David, entrepreneur, people like Joe Rogan, um, people who study what's going on in the world and how it affects them at a capitalistic level, right? So, you know, oh, Disney is launching Disney Plus. How is this going to affect Amazon? How's this going to affect Netflix? Little things like that, just to give me a different type of view of what life is from their spectrum. Things that would affect their pockets that could possibly affect mine in the future if I want to get to that level. Besides from that, I just spend my time reading a little bit, working 9 to 5, and listening to a lot of music. But I would say try to just have a lot of meaningful conversations with not just friends and family, but just strangers. Like sometimes I walk into like little pizza shops and I ask them, so how did you start this place? How did it come about? Since when have you guys been open? So try to have meaningful conversations like that with people to try to learn from them. You know, don't just pay for the pizza and walk out, or then just make it more than just a transaction. Ask questions that maybe will be beneficial in the future for you. Well,
Adam, you got any input on that one? What do you do with your free time, or how do you spend your time?
My time I'm working or I'm at school, but my free time I'm either doing something with music. That's mostly what I'm doing. You know, always have a passion that's a hobby, but I'm either doing something with music. I'll watch TV for a little bit, but most of my free time would probably go towards music.
Sounds pretty good. So that basically concludes this Q&A video. I just want to thank everyone for submitting whatever questions you had. We really had a great time answering those questions. I personally had a great time. I enjoyed this Q&A, and I really feel good about it. Um, if you guys want to say anything just to end off this video, then feel free to unmute, tap in. Thank you guys for submitting your questions.
the last thing I want to say before I go is I really do recommend this book. I love to give out really extreme examples. Like I said, if you want to get laid, you got to sell yourself. But keep in mind, every interaction with somebody is a transaction. If I'm telling, hey, Josh, what's your favorite basketball team? It's not Miami, man, bro. We dunking, we beating y'all this season. So that's immediately I'm selling him on why Miami is better than whatever the Knicks or whoever he supports, right? Every interaction is a transaction. Keep that in mind. So that when you think about it like that, you'll get your way in life without being somebody, without coming from a place of menace. That's what I'm trying to say.
Sure. We got less than a minute on here. Dan, Adam, you guys want to say anything to our wonderful viewers and followers that love us so dearly?
I'll just say do things your own way. And don't necessarily follow in someone's footsteps. Everyone's different. Everyone's got a different path.
Yeah.
Same. I mean, I may be cut off, but thank you guys for submitting all the questions. If you guys want another Q&A,
Let us know.
Yes, sir.